Meeting for Tuesday, April 27, 2021. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask if everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone, please remain standing. Moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay. At this time, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? It looks like there's one item to be deleted, Mr. McLaurin.
Mr. Mayor, delete item 11E for right now, resolution on HB 496. We're still getting some additional information.
Okay.
And I'll talk about that more under manager's comments.
Okay. Council's okay with that?
Do we need a motion?
Need a motion to approve the amended agenda.
When we get to that. Any other additions or deletions? Okay. At this time, I need a motion to approve the amended agenda, please. Ms. Cohen's made the motion. All in favor by show of hands. Any opposed? Which one were you, Marcus? I didn't see your hand. I'm guessing approved. It's unanimous. Okay, that brings us to presentations. Bear with me. First presentation tonight is in honor of Dr. Christine Darden, who, for those that don't know, was one of the key figures in the movie Hidden Figures, in getting America's space race off and running and helping us to win it at the time. And the proclamation is in support of Monroe's hearing and proposal to rename the new Science Museum in her honor, considering she is a Monroe native. Whereas Dr. Christine Mann Darden, born September 10, 1942, is the youngest of 5 children and the daughter of an insurance agent and a teacher, is a native of Monroe, North Carolina. Whereas Dr. Darden is an African-American woman who graduated as valedictorian in 1958 from Allen High School in Asheville, North Carolina, and was awarded a scholarship to Hampton Institute, now University, in Hampton, Virginia, where she earned a BS degree in mathematics education. Whereas Dr. Darden continued her studies, eventually earning her Doctor of Science degree in mechanical engineering from George Washington University and holds a certificate of advanced study in management from Simmons College Graduate School of Management in Boston. Whereas in 1967, at the age of 25, Dr. Darden was recruited by Langley Research Center and began work as a data analyst. And in 1973, she was promoted to a position as an aerospace engineer, and after receiving numerous awards and certificates, she was appointed as technical leader of the NASA's Sonic Boom team and was responsible for developing NASA's internal sonic boom research program. Whereas Dr. Darden is credited with helping the United States win the space race and getting the Mercury astronauts into space in the early 1960s, whereas Dr. Darden continued advancing at Langley Research Center and was ultimately responsible for research in air traffic management and other aeronautics programs managed at other NASA centers, and served as a technical consultant on numerous government and private projects. Whereas Dr. Darden's career spanned over 40 years, and upon her retirement in March of 2007, and she has authored more than 50 publications in the field of high-lift wing design and supersonic flow, flap design, sonic boom prediction, and sonic boom minimization. And where, therefore, I, Michael L. Alvarez, Mayor of the Town of Indian Trail, do hereby honor Dr. Darden and her accomplishments and call upon all citizens of the Town of Indian Trail to pause momentarily to honor her and her service to our nation and to show support for the City of Monroe's efforts to name their new Science Center after her. Witness my hand and official seal of the Town of Indian Trail this 27th day of April 2021. I am missing the law enforcement. No, I don't see it. Or is it behind? It is behind this one. My apologies. It's this week, is it not? Okay.
May 9th through the 15th.
May 9th through the 15th, okay. This is proclamation for National Police Week and Peace Officers Memorial Day. Whereas the Congress and the President of the United States have designated that there be a Law Enforcement Officers Week, and whereas the members of law enforcement agencies of North Carolina play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of the state, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their law enforcement officers, offices, and agencies, and that members of these agencies recognize their daily duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas the citizens of Indian Trail recognize and appreciate the contributions made by law enforcement officers at all levels of government. Now, therefore, I, Michael L. Alvarez, Mayor of the Town of Indian Trail, call upon all citizens to observe May 15th, 2021 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and May 15th through May 21st as National Police Week in Indian Trail, North Carolina. And that all our people join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities. In so doing, they have established for themselves an inviolable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and securities of all citizens. Witnessed my hand, the official seal of the Town of Indian Trail on the 27th day of April, 2021. And there's no public comments, you said? Anyone signed up, Trina? You said no? Public comments? No. I will open and close the public comments portion and move on to the law enforcement update. Are you giving one tonight?
There was nothing to present.
Okay. Oh, per captain, I thought you were just trying to shy away from getting up there. Okay, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, please, if there's no changes. Mr. Combs made the motion. By show of hands, all in favor? Let the record stand. That was approved unanimously. That brings us to old business, Sardis Road Roundabout survey results. Mr. Huntsinger.
Didn't we skip one? Citizens recognition policy.
Did I pass that? Was that, that's, yeah, we did that in consent agenda.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Is this working? Yeah. All right, yeah, I wanted to bring y'all, we basically had a survey done 1st of April, and it ended on the April 16th, and wanted to get some feedback from the residents about the roundabout we just constructed over about 6 months ago. And so we'll take you, I'm sure you've read through this already with your packet, but we'll go over them real quick. Question one, we wanted to, do you want to get a sense of did they feel like the intersection was safer to navigate through from the previous one? As you can see, 441 responded, 380, about 386, that's 85% agreed. Did have some that didn't agree, and I'll provide you a couple comments after that. Question two, how's the roundabout improved travel time, safety, and commute? Of course, pretty much same ratios, 85%. Question three was based on your answers and previous two questions, would you be opposed to seeing more roundabouts? And obviously the majority said yes. Did have a few comments in the feedback saying they don't want to see any roundabouts ever again. Question four, has the roundabout improved pedestrian accessibility and safety at the intersection? It's a little mixed here, but for the majority of them, they agreed it did. And then we wanted to get some feedback from people that, went to Sardis Elementary, which is, the roundabout was constructed right in front of. And so we asked if they had any people that attend. We didn't get a lot of feedback as far as the question. I'll get to that in a second. But do you have children who attend Sardis? The majority said no, that did the survey. Do you think the improvements to the intersection and the school access driveway has improved student drop-off? So again, only 36 respondents that actually had kids going to school responded to this, and the majority said yes, it improved the drop-off. Now, we did ask for some feedback on that, and so there was a feedback portion for this question in particular, and there really was no issues on that one. But then you had a feedback comment box for the next one, just whatever you wanted to say. And just so y'all know, major thing was nobody knows how to follow the rules of a roundabout as far as driving it, and they do not know how to yield to people. And so the majority was very upset. We did have comments saying, why don't they just make them single lane? And obviously we can't do that because they just wouldn't function properly. You'd be pretty much sitting like a stoplight, and that's what we're not trying to do here. But most of them thought it was a vast improvement, and had several comments that wanted to veer off from the roundabout and talk about Highway 74 and Old Mill Road. We actually have one saying, I'd rather you spent money on Old Mill Road than the roundabout, but obviously they didn't know that we're spending money on both. So anyway, that's really all I wanted to share, and just to give you some feedback on how the citizens appreciated or not appreciated the project.
Todd,
Yes, sir.
question for you. When you did the survey, did you call Sardis Elementary to see what they thought?
What I did was I sent this I told the facilities director for the county about the survey,
Right.
and then I sent him the feedback after the survey. So I would assume he's going to share it with others, the principal and maybe the council. Not the council, school board. But no, I didn't reach out personally to the elementary
My only,
school.
and I live on that side of town and go through there, but I don't go through there during school hours. Just wonder, how they're handling, now rather than an intersection, they got they have to go across.
Yeah.
Just wondering how that was functioning. Did they have any issues with that?
We only had one comment. We actually had one comment saying that, it takes longer. But I'm assuming the reason it takes longer is you don't have somebody risking their life in the middle of the intersection, just telling everybody, okay, now you can go. And, they have to go that fourth leg and kind of wait, and veer off. So I'm assuming that's the reason. Of course, it's the pandemic, so, hopefully that gets better.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any more planned for Indian Trail?
Not at the moment, no. But
So-
I mean, as you all know, we are pushing forward with trying to look at doing a roundabout along Indian Trail Road, and then of course the state is putting a roundabout on Gribble at Chestnut Parkway, which will connect to our new road. So there will be two roundabouts coming in the near future.
All right. I used to travel that road before the roundabout was put in, and if I was coming from Charlotte, I would never go towards the Walmart. I'd actually go down towards the QT and turn there and head down, because if you were to stop at the next to the daycare right there, it'll take you a good couple minutes just to be able to turn to make a left turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that intersection right there, the roundabout, was the design I like, because it's two lanes. If people just really follow it carefully or really pay attention, the traffic does move. With COVID, you have a lot more people dropping their kids to school versus taking the bus. But once we kind of get back to a little more normal time, that should decrease, and the waiting time should probably decrease there as well. That's the expectation. But good job.
Yeah, like I said, I think most of them that drive through there from the Highway 74 don't like it because they can't just go straight through now. They have to slow down. So I think that was a major downside of the survey. Sorry.
I didn't
Mr.
hear the
Barber.
question, but did you say there is a roundabout scheduled to go at Gribble Road and Indian Trail Road?
No, Gribble Road and Chestnut Parkway. When they build the two
Well,
new
what
roads,
about Gribble Road and Indian Trail Road?
that's a signal. It's going to be a traffic signal.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Looks like we're good. Thank you,
Okay,
Todd.
thank you.
Okay. That brings us to the Sheriff's Office Personnel Contract. Mr. McLaurin.
Good evening, Mayor and board members. Good to see you again tonight. It's good to be back live and in person in our meeting chamber. The next two items are two contracts involving the Union County Sheriff's Office. Both of those contracts expire on June 30th of this year. One contract covers the personnel and how we fund personnel of sheriff's deputies, captains, things of that nature. The other contract covers the lease agreement that we have for their Indian Trail Division. And what I'm going to do is spend the next couple minutes just kind of hitting some of the highlights of that. And what we would like the board to do is vote on both of those contracts with the stipulation that the manager and the town attorney can work with any technical glitches which need to be adjusted. The first item that you have deals with the personnel contract. You have a memo which highlights that. Basically, we cover 90% of the cost of whatever personnel we agree upon. The county provides the other 10%. We also we cover any match cost of the deputies. The contract is it's a turnkey contract in that includes all the training, the cars, the insurance, the salary, the fringe, the indirect, and all of that. The contract is a 4-year contract. The second contract deals with the lease agreement over at Blythe Drive. We basically rent it to them as is, or lease it to them as is, where is, for $1 a year. And we also cover the water, sewer, electrical power. Your memo says the internet. We do not pay for the internet. They have a special internet set up that they cover the cost on. I have received some inquiries from some board member or board members wanting to know if we could have a 5-year contract as opposed to a 4-year contract. I checked with Sheriff Cathy last week, and he did not have a problem with it. He suggested I speak with the county manager. The county manager is good with a 5-year contract. So, if y'all are comfortable, as staff we are, we will need to make a slight adjustment on the contract to recognize a civilian employee, assuming y'all fund that.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What was the proposal from the sheriff? What was the proposal for the contract term from the sheriff? It was a 4-year?
It's always been 4 years, I think.
But what's the reason? Was the reason behind the 5-year? Is
Okay.
there a fear of something not happening? What's the reason for the 5-year to change from? I mean, it's 1 year, but what's the reason behind that?
Some of the other boards may want to kind of give their thoughts. I'll be happy to share whatever thoughts I have.
Other members of fellow members?
I'll chime in there. I've had many conversations with the sheriff over the contract. Some people said we need a 3-year contract over the years. Some people said, let's go 7, 10 years. And according to the county manager and the sheriff, the most viable contract and the longest length you could have that wouldn't disrupt finances of either the county or the town is a 5-year contract, rather than every 4 years, every 5 years. And it's basically all the finances are the same, the viability of it's the same. Once you go beyond 5 years, it just, from a financial standpoint and a contractual standpoint, it was more than anybody would more than be what would be fair to the town or the county. So to just take this off the table to be as often as 4 years, 5 years, very viable. And the county agrees, the sheriff agrees, and personally I agree with it too.
So we just voting on the term of the contract. Every year they'd come and re-up and we would agree to the numbers and so forth. So essentially there's a grace period where we could both walk away if we so decided, right? It's not like we locked in for 5 years that we must use your services.
No,
Am I understanding that correct, Karen?
There is, if I could speak to that if you'd like, Karen, or else you can. There is a get-out period.
I don't need to know the period, but I'm,
Okay.
I'm assuming that there is a clause in there.
Yeah.
But in other words, we're just agreeing basically to provide the services, and every year we would agree to the budget,
Yeah.
the amount, whatever it is, right?
Whatever we agree on a budget. I mean, they will fund to whatever you agree on. Also, law enforcement has had a lot of discussion in this town over the years, and a 5-year kind of gives a longer view plan. So, I'm personally comfortable with the 5-year plan.
I just was wondering what was the reason behind it. That's what I was
Yeah.
wondering. Because the thing is, I mean, I haven't been here for that long, but I know before there were some people who were not necessarily in favor of the sheriff, and then
Yeah.
I don't know if the terms were ever changed, but I know it's always been a 4-year. Mr. Cohn, you've been here longer than I have. It's always been 4 years, right? Roughly?
The
Okay.
previous ones, and to be honest with you, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
a 4-year, 5-year, 7-year, 3-year. It's nice that it is a 4-year or 5-year. The way the contract's written, either party can get out of it at any time. So basically what that means is you could get a new council here, let's say, and this is hypothetical talking, that if you got a new council that all came in November, December, you could have a 4-year or 5-year contract, but if they didn't want a sheriff's department, then it doesn't matter. The contract doesn't basically hold water, because there is, if I'm not mistaken, tell me if I'm wrong, that there's a clause in that contract that lets either party out of it.
It's a 12-month notice.
It is what is-
Yes.
That's all the questions I
Okay.
had. I just wanted to find why.
Sure.
But, yeah.
So I guess if the contract, Todd?
Did you say the sheriff and the county manager are both okay with 5 years?
Yes, sir. I spoke to both of them. One, and the sheriff referred me to the county manager, and I spoke to the county manager, I
5
think
years will
Friday.
see us through 2 municipal elections, so I'm good
Yeah.
with 5 years,
Okay.
if they're good with it.
Okay.
I just have one question. When was this discussion?
With the sheriff,
Yeah, about the 5-year, when was this brought up, since this is really new to me?
it came up to me, I may have had an initial sometime back, but then I was asked about it recently. So I think I've talked to the sheriff within the last 2 weeks, and I talked to the county manager, I want to say Friday, when we met on some water and sewer issues. So,
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking that is because I realize that there's going to be an election this year, and also with the 1-year notification, I become a little concerned if something is politicized. I totally support the sheriff's department.
Okay.
But bringing a 5-year contract on the night of the vote versus a 4-year contract just seems a little
okay.
suspect to me.
Okay. Wanted to bring it up to the board that it had been brought to me. So,
Well, I would make a motion to the board, or suggest to the board that what we were prepared to vote on, at least what I was a 4-year contract that I totally 100% support. I don't want to waver on my support because of a 5-year at the last moment, so I would just be comfortable with the 4-year.
Mr. Morse has made a motion
To approve the 4-year.
thank you, to approve the 4-year sheriff's contract. By show of hands, all in favor? If there's no discussion,
What's the motion?
for a 4-year contract.
That's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
that's unanimous.
and I think it's with the understanding that the attorney and I may need to make some tweaks. Is that right, Jerry? Okay.
Can I just say something, if you don't mind?
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm going to just speak for myself, not for everybody
Okay.
else. The sheriff's department in the town does an absolutely wonderful job, really does.
Okay.
It would have been really nice if we knew about this 5-year
Sure.
before,
Okay.
being honest with you,
Fair enough.
because then it seems like, but we love our sheriff's department, the people who work here in town, wonderful people. Captain James is like a personal friend. We don't hang out together much anymore, but,
Good.
But I just wanted to say next
Sure.
time, just even an email or phone message, just a heads up. That way we know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So noted. Okay. I think Mr. Hunsinger is up, Mr. Mayor.
What, was that for both contracts, or we have to vote on them separately?
Yes, let's vote on them separately if we can.
So we also need to vote on the lease for the 4-year lease.
The lease is 4 years as well?
Yes,
Runs
sir.
concurrently?
Yeah, we want them to run together.
Yeah.
And in the event that the personnel document terminates, then so does the lease. They run together.
Okay. So
Okay.
I'll make a motion to renew the lease agreement, the lease contract with the sheriff's office as noted by our attorney.
Mr. McIntyre's made the motion to approve the lease contract for the sheriff's office, 4-year term, concurrent with the sheriff's personnel contract. All in favor by show of hands?
Okay.
That is unanimous.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Hunsinger's up next.
That brings us to the Stormwater Committee annual update.
Thank you, Mayor. Every year, we want to, as a committee, to come back to the council and give an update of what the committee members have done, what they've recommended to the staff and to the board, as far as, projects, policies. So just going to go through this real quick. If you have any questions at the end, I'll be happy to answer them. I will tell you this. We didn't do one last year, and that is my fault. So we are going to go back a little further than 1 year. So, all right. So the Stormwater Advisory Committee, it was established in 2007, and basically it oversees the implementation of the Stormwater Management Program that is required by our Phase 2 permit. The current members of the committee is Councilmember Barber, Larry Miller, co-chaired, and Larry's been on since day one. He's been there since '07. He's been the co-chair for several years now. Chris Rowe, Alan Mosley, Josh Allen are our professional engineers on the committee, and we encourage at least to have half the committee to be PEs if we can get them. And then Francis Gibb is our last member. The duties and charges of the committee is to review and recommend to the council stormwater policies, review and comment to the council on capital improvement projects, respond to the council and staff requests regarding the stormwater management program, and to present the council an annual report, which is what we are doing right now. So I just wanted to briefly show you, and I'm sure you're already aware of this, but these are our current stormwater utility fees that basically fund our stormwater management program. The 2,060 square feet is basically a survey that was done years ago on an average annual house square footage. If you're looking at an aerial photo, basically we had somebody to go up there, go to all the houses, and basically that 2,000, that's pretty standard. I've seen other municipalities, they're around 2,000 square feet as well. So if you're less than 2,000, $53 a year. If you're over 2,000, $63 a year. And then a commercial, you take the 2,000, and that's a per ERU. And so if you basically multiply it by 40 and get your annual yearly fee. Policy changes, we did do one policy change. We did change our bylaws, and basically really it was all about trying to change up the terms of the committee chairs. And so we divvy up those for 2-year periods. And then I think we went from 5 committee members back to 6. Right now, our current capital improvement projects we have an annual stormwater maintenance contract. I will be talking about last year's contract, not the one that's happening right now. Our current First Avenue Pond Pump Station, our coming soon this summer, First Avenue Phase 2, and then our Indian Trail Park improvements, which is currently ongoing as well. Maintenance contract last year was for $130,000. We cleaned catch basins in Brandon Oaks. We regraded and cleaned 3rd Avenue roadside ditches. And then we cleaned floodplain from South Ulmer Road. And just so you know, this maintenance contract basically is for cleaning floodplain. And so we basically, there's four, we kind of divvy up the town limits to 4 sections, and every year we do a section. So now we're back, this coming year, back to the north side of where Chris Mark is, if that gives you any indication. So here's just some photos of them cleaning out. They had a tree that fell across the floodway. I apologize, I don't know where this is at. If Adam was here, I'm sure he could tell me. But Adam manages this contract, so he knows more than I do on this. But anyway, there's a bridge near there, but they went in there, and what they do is basically they get in there and they saw cut it. You know, obviously you can't get machines in there, so they go as far as they can. They haul it back towards level ground, and then they basically haul it away. And that's basically all they're doing. They're trying to clean the floodplain from debris, beaver dams, any trash, so forth, so on. They went back, stabilized the slopes with some matting, and there's your final product over here on the far right corner. All right, next project's First Avenue Pond and Pump Station. Total contract's $1 million. Construction phase is at 75%. The primary pumps are in transit. I'm hoping to see those at the project. Hopefully it was this month, end of this month, but evidently it's going to be in May. And our pump station structure it's been completed. To give you a sense how big the detention facility is back there, it is 1 acre large. As you can see, the folks doing the concrete ditch through there, how small they are. It's the pump station structure. They just did this a couple weeks ago. We're in there and poured it. And there's kind of the service road you're going to drive into to maintain it pretty much. Obviously, it'll be gravel and everything. It's a mess right now, but you get the point here. All right, next project, First Avenue, Phase 2 design. Project scope is regrade ditches. The design's at 90%. Just to give you a sense, if you look on your screen on the right-hand side right there, you can see it's alligator cracked. Well, that whole road's pretty much in that condition right now. And so we need to reconstruct that roadway. If you see the ditches over here, they're filled in. You can't hardly see us pipe over here. We've got to go in there and clean these ditches out, put in brand new driveway aprons for these folks, and we're going to widen this road 2 feet, so a foot on either side. So from 18-foot wide to a 20-foot wide roadway. And this is the reason why we need to do this, is the ditches are filled in and they do not have any capacity. And this just gives you sort of this is the 90% drawing. It's just the entrance. Here's the Indian Trail Road. This is the entrance to First Ave. And just to notice, every driveway, you can see right in the hatches, all getting brand new concrete aprons, brand new pipe. We're going to just take out the old stuff and put in the new, and then regrade the ditches to get the road to drain, so we don't have to come back and reconstruct it again in the future. Next project, Indian Trail Park improvements. It is under construction for $600,000. Easement acquisition was done in-house. Construction ongoing, started in February 15th. Expenditures to date is $40,000. This will give you a good indication of what First Ave is going to start looking like. You've got a ditch that was basically filled in, and now you have brand new pipe installed and a brand new ditch with actually some capacity to it. If you look down the grade, as you can see, you're going to have a brand new ditch that actually can hold stormwater to where the road can drain, and not a pond in the road, which is what it's been doing over the years. And this is the fun stuff here. This is the last driveway on Grover Moore. And this is where we've had to put in a box culvert due to all the stormwater they get from other side of Oldman Road, Brandon Oaks subdivision, and then their side of the subdivision that gets down to there. So they're getting 3 ways of water. This used to be a 24-inch pipe. This is an 8x3 culvert. So 3 foot tall, 8 foot wide. And so it shows you how much water is coming through there. And this is the final product. You put head walls on there, and then you're going there. We'll put a brand new concrete apron. And so we can, again, try to start maintaining these ditches in that roadway to a proper standard. We did do some drainage studies. Poplar Glen, I'll talk about, Brook Tree. And then Providence Hills, we didn't really do a drainage study. We looked into it, but we resolved the issues. So I just went ahead and just put complete there. But Poplar Glen, Again, you see the drainage area, it's fairly massive. So we had to concentrate on what was coming off Fulmer Road, what's going in the floodplain here. This is, as you can see right here, you've got the limits of town. The Stallings is right here. You have a ditch through here where basically we had to figure out what can we do to gain some capacity on this ditch, and that's basically what it boils down to. There are issues with Poplar Glen, the DOT roadway. We have spoken with DOT. They are looking into it. I'm not sure if they're going to do any improvements. So all we can do as a town is do what we can do with what we've got dealt with, and this is to basically build a bigger ditch back here to handle the stormwater flow. Brooktree, you have 4 lots here that are basically under the floodplain that requested for us to take a look at it. So we did look at the project area. This is all floodplain back down through here. If you got an indication where you're at, this is Lake Park Drive. There's a pond, you see that pond right there at the Merrill. Well, as y'all know, there's probably, if you've drove here enough, there's issues with water ponding in this roadway if it rains hard enough. And so we looked into that, and these folks, this subdivision was built before the floodplain was mapped, and so obviously they probably wouldn't have built houses here if they knew FEMA floodplain was there, but unfortunately it was done before that occurred. So we surveyed this area and tried to help these folks out, but with the alternatives, you would have to upsize this DOT culvert from basically there's 236 RCPs in there. You'd have to add 2 10x4 box culverts just to get capacity. And then that doesn't even bring the drainage area, the floodplain area down enough for it to make sense to even engage in the project. So the other alternatives were to put a flood wall or a flood earth berm on the backside of these properties. But when you do the calculations, the hydraulic model, it doesn't benefit them whatsoever. So unfortunately, there's nothing we can really do for those folks. Yes, sir.
I have a question on that.
Okay.
You say there's nothing you can do. What about, are the properties themselves, the houses impacted by the flooding right now?
No, sir. The model states that the house itself does not get flooded.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. And then Providence Hills, we looked at possibly doing a drainage analysis. We talked to the committee about it. Really, this it's basically a stream bank stabilization issue with this creek that goes through here. And this gentleman here is basically losing property because the stream bank is eroding. And that kind of shows you a picture right here of what's going on. So we looked at options. We decided to, the committee talked about maybe looking for a grant. We went through the grant process. Unfortunately, to do stream bank restoration, it doesn't really benefit the point criteria for what the state and these and the Corps is looking for in an overall project. And so the grant that we could go after that this particular year, we weren't going to get, which is what it boils down to. And so what we did decide to do is move forward with a design of just that stream bank, which is not a lot of money, and then move forward. And I've updated those property owners by email on occasion to move forward with that. So we're basically going to construct a stream bank restoration project right in this immediate area. And we're doing the design right now. That's it. I'll take questions.
No, I just have one comment. I want to thank the Stormwater Committee and the volunteers who do come in. You know, Mr. Barber is the chair, to spend their time there doing that. I'm also very happy to see the First Avenue project, how it's moving along, and, you know, what it's going to look. You know, people pay stormwater fees, and it's good that we can spend the money that we take in on projects that really going to help benefit them and improve their lives. So good job, keep it up.
Just a question.
Yes, sir.
This might have been when I was gone. Did you end up buying the lot and putting the pond out?
Yeah, there were like 5 skinny lots that amounted to an acre. Yeah.
Y'all probably did that.
Yes, that's been a while ago. Yes, sir.
So So that's all been done?
It was
That
like,
helped out the
if I
situation?
remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was like 10 grand a lot, so it ended up being like 50 grand
Yeah,
to buy those
but
lots.
Did it help out?
Well, yeah, it's helping out right now. I mean, those folks, that picture you've seen right now, it hasn't really done that since the pond has been
That's great.
excavated.
I didn't look at that. That's good.
Yeah, it's just,
Good job,
go ahead.
Mr. Barber, appreciate y'all getting that done.
He said thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Council Mayor.
Thank you, Todd. That brings us to item B, Citizens of the Quarter. As the council knows, there's been Abby's been put it out there on social media for nominations for Citizen of the Quarter from the citizens, and we've received one for first quarter, and that's Jeff Rogers. You've received in your packet. Jeff is instrumental in volunteering for the Union County homeless shelter and has helped feed people throughout the pandemic and is an Indian Trail resident, and for years has been working above and beyond to help those less fortunate and work double time in the recent year and a half. And personally, I think that's an outstanding nomination that was
That's
set
the only
forth.
nomination we received.
That's the only nomination we received.
I'm ready to make a motion on that if the other council members are.
If there's no other further questions, Mr. McIntyre would like to make a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we award the Citizen of the Quarter for first quarter 2021 to Mr. Jeffrey Rogers.
Mr. McIntyre's made the motion by a show of hands. All in favor? That vote is unanimous. Mr. McLaurin, Abby, you'll reach out to Jeff? Thank you. Okay, that brings us to water sewer update. Mr. McLaurin asked me to give a quick update on their meeting. And please, everybody correct me if I skip a beat on what you've passed on to me. Ms. McLaurin met with the county manager and finance, was it? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. You can give it quicker than in where we're moving forward to.
I think it was last Friday, the town manager of Stallings, myself, the county manager, the assistant county manager, met to discuss some of the concerns with the proposed document. I am optimistic that we will make some revisions that will work well with all parties. They are also meeting, I think, with Waxhaw tomorrow, so it was a very good meeting, and we're working on some revisions, and we're optimistic.
And Karen, you spoke with their attorney?
I did, and at this point in time, it's with the town managers to get the business terms done, and I'm sure that it'll get it handed over to us to legal it up, but they're working on
Okay.
getting the appropriate compromises taken care of right now.
Okay.
And that's as far as we've gotten thus far. So everybody's in agreement
Yep.
to make a viable, working agreement. Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. McIntyre.
Question.
Yes, sir.
When we attended the county's all-town meeting, there was discussion of appropriating some sewer capacity to towns and so forth. Is that part of the agreement, or that was not discussed?
No, not at this point. It's not. It's more just very conceptual about the need to work together. I'd really prefer, if I could, to have some time to put some collective thoughts together and then feed it back out to y'all. But the bottom line is right now we're not talking about specific capacities.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
Well, the only comment I would make is it might behoove the council to check out the Union County Commissioners' YouTube channel. They had a very in-depth discussion with Public Works and how it's going to impact Indian Trail. They had up or down votes on certain things that they were going to fund. So I'm just mentioning that because it's about an hour and a half, 2-hour meeting, but it was very valuable.
And if I could add, I think, and Councilmember Morris, let me know if I'm off base here, but I think they agreed to expand 12 Mile Creek.
Yep.
And they've also agreed to do an equalizing tank or equalizer tank, which will give some relief. The big thing we're looking for is something up in the Crooked Creek area. And so perhaps once we come to an agreement with this resolution or document, then that will give them kind of some confidence of moving forward. So,
But they've not lifted the 95% cap yet that they have right now, even if they expanded the 12 mile.
Right, and part of what they're saying on that is that they've got some I&I, and with a lot of the rain that we've had, it raises the water table, and if you know anything about I&I, stormwater can really run your numbers up. So we will certainly keep the board informed of any significant items that come to the table, and any final version will be reviewed with you before we sign off.
I appreciate you guys working together with the county on that. They've been good partners, so hopefully we can get an agreement done.
No question about it. Would you like me to continue on, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, continue on to item D,
Okay.
resolution for HB 401.
Yes. I have before you a resolution. Since you've got it tonight, if you want to defer it for 2 weeks, that's fine with us. I don't know if it's anything we necessarily have to approve tonight, but it's something we've talked about, where essentially if it was passed, it would greatly affect our zoning. Things such as duplex, triplexes, quadplexes would become zoning by right. We, along with the League of Municipalities and cities all over the state of North Carolina, are opposed to it. We think it's bad for local government. And if you'd like to look at this and approve it tonight, or if you would like to defer it for 2 weeks, we could go either way.
Are you prepared?
I'm prepared to vote.
Has everybody read it? Do you want me to read it out loud?
Read it for the record.
Yes, sir. A resolution by the Town of Indian Trail opposing SB 349 HB 401 increased housing opportunities. Whereas the legislation proposed in SB 309 HB 401 increased housing opportunities is of great concern to the Town of Indian Trail and other local governments within North Carolina. And whereas provisions within this legislation would severely diminish or even eliminate the ability of local government to determine what is best for its community or even allow community input or involvement in the decision-making process. And whereas development would become uncontrolled and reckless with little to no regard for property owners' rights, not to mention the added stress and demand on a local government's infrastructure, which would eventually lead to the declining property values. And whereas town officials were elected by the citizens for a reason, to protect and preserve the quality of life that they have come to enjoy. And whereas residents could not enjoy a safe and secure, clean, and well-kept environment with plenty of amenities offered if it were not for the efforts put forth by its elected officials and town staff in utilizing effective and proven zoning processes that include community input. And whereas a one-size-fits-all approach to land use is radical and a blanket attack on local land use decision-making, and whereas uniform legislation for all local governments under one statewide zoning mandate would eliminate the single-family zoning designation and allow for multifamily housing in every neighborhood with no minimum parking requirements in place to ensure adequate parking for all. Whereas increased housing does not guarantee more affordable housing, nor does this legislation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that copies of this resolution are sent to our legislative delegation and the leadership of the North Carolina General Assembly is as an effort to stop SB 349 HB 401 from becoming law and to work together to find real ways to advance affordable housing opportunities. If there's no questions and you're prepared to vote, I'll need a motion on that.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the resolution by the Town of Indian Trail opposing SB 349 HB 401.
Mr. Morse has made the motion to approve the resolution in opposition. By a show of hands, all in favor? Let the record show that's passed unanimously.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, that brings us to manager's update.
Okay.
You're already there.
I've got 4 items. One I'm going to need some guidance from the board on, and that's pertaining to legislative updates. We're constantly keeping track of what's being introduced in the General Assembly because how they do their work affects how you do your work. And as I mentioned earlier in the evening, there's a bill, HB 496, which would basically do away with protection, the local government's authority to do tree protection ordinances. We don't have a resolution on that tonight. We're waiting for some additional information. But there's also a bill, HB 291, which limits how you can do commercial site plan reviews. There's some time limits put into that. If this information is important to you as a board, we will periodically bring you information on this legislation, and if for some reason you feel like you want to reach out to your legislators through a resolution or whatever, we'll be happy to do that, but I just need to know if this is of interest to the board.
I'll speak for myself. Yes, I think this is very valuable.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll continue to do that. The legislature is in full bore right now. This is the first year of a 2-year cycle, so we'll keep you in the loop. The other item, I'm pleased to report, we are closely monitoring what the governor's doing as it relates to COVID. I've had a number of questions about what are we going to do about July 4th. The governor seems to think we'll be pretty much back to normal. I think June 1st was the latest thing that I've heard. So we're going to go ahead and plan for July 4th celebration. If for some reason the numbers turn the wrong way, we're going to cancel it because safety is number one. Since July 4th is on a Sunday, traditionally what we have done is we have moved that to Saturday. And so assuming the board is agreeable, we'll go ahead and proceed forth. Any thoughts?
You'll proceed forth on the 3rd, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
The parades, typically the parade starts at 11 o'clock, and if we start at 11 o'clock on a Sunday, they'd run me out of town. So.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Okay, good.
Lions Club's on board. They want to go with the parade.
Okay, is Little Joe going to be there?
Little Joe, man. Might be too hot for Little Joe.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that, because, yeah, I have received a number of inquiries, so certainly appreciate your support on that. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Dude Solution, and while Abby is pulling that up, I want to talk to you a little bit about Dude Solution and what we're trying to do to be a cut above other cities. You heard me 2 weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, talking about in our Public Works Department, when we go out to fix a sign, we also look around to see if there's anything else that needs to be done. We're just not going to go out there, fix a sign, and leave. And so this is a North Carolina company. And so what we're doing an automated work order system. So we don't write it down on a piece of paper, lose the paper, or put it on a spreadsheet somewhere. So it builds accountability. And while what we're doing right now is we put some money in this year's budget, we've also got money in next year's budget to continue it. And we're doing a soft, what they call in the restaurant business, a soft opening. We've trained the staff. We'll continue to work on that. And I want to give you a real live example of how it works. Give you a little bit of background. I thought we practiced this.
I don't think you know how it works.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully you can get his password up. Would you like me to go ahead and tell the story while you're doing it? Okay. This is how it works. At 5:49 this morning, I get a text message from the mayor. Included in the text message was a street sign that had been hit by a car. The mayor did exactly what he needed to do, and like some of you do, is when you see something, you send it to the manager to take care of. At 8:28, I sent it over to Adam, picture of the sign. And I saw Adam later that morning, and he said, I asked Adam about the sign because we try to follow up, and Adam said that sign was fixed at 10:12 this morning, less than 2 hours after I reported it, by whoever the employee was, and I can tell you how long it took him to fix it. So what is the story here? The story is this: by using technology, we'll be able to better plan our workload, and once we're fully implemented, the public works staff will take a look at the list that they have on any given day, and they will be able to group jobs together so they're not running from place to place. So that's the story of Dude Solutions. I certainly appreciate you funding that, and we will roll it out to the public and continue to give good service.
Do we need to get a system for remembering the password, or we good on that?
So it must be kicking it off. We must have a filter.
I'm just
Yeah.
joking,
Oh,
I'm
tried
just
two
joking.
different keyboards, and I know one would work.
Okay, so, but anyway, look for this. Adam, it is a public rollout, and it will have a phone app.
Yes, so it has a phone app and it'll have a full rollout. We're looking probably middle to end of May. It'll roll out to the public.
So we're very excited about that. And also we'll be using our video resources to kind of give the public some information on that. So it's very good. The last item I got is, and I'm going to ask Trina's help on this, we have your budget books and they're early this year. I'm going to ask Trina just to take a minute and pass those out. I'm not asking you to do anything with it right now, but there's a couple things I want to share with you about this. This is not your formal budget presentation. Your formal budget presentation will be on May 11th. And what this book includes is your operational budget. We had also, as a result of the budget workshops, we had received one question about the staffing at the sheriff's office. We answered that. We had also received questions about debt payoff schedules. So there's 4 models here on paying off various bond issues. We had also received a question about a 3-year budget analysis, so we have that. Those are in your flaps. We also have the 2 PowerPoints that we did. So 3, actually. So you've got a lot of information to kind of make reference to. On the May 11th, what we'll do is we'll do the formal budget presentation. We'll open up with a 3-minute, 30-second video, which hits the highlights. We'll have a short PowerPoint, and we'll, answer any questions that you have. You'll schedule a public hearing on May 25th and ask that you approve the budget on June 8th. Also, on May 11th, we will go back and we will reintroduce your CIP. We're only talking about 2 years right now. That is a non-binding plan for the town. We've spent some time on that last week, and we'll come back later in the summer with a complete 5-year plan if the board feels like they're ready for that. In the meantime, what we will do is we will be reaching out to each of you after you've had a few days to take a look at this, hopefully before May 11th, to kind of see what kind of questions or information you feel like you might need to be able to make decisions. I know, Mayor Pro Tem, you are very interested in the debt payoff schedule, and we would like to sit down with you and other board members just to look at some options to see what might work best. So by doing this tonight, you've got a little extra time, and so as you get questions, feel free to email them to me, and just expect phone calls from us and Jim, and we move forward.
And the 4 models that you gave there are instruments that we've not drawn down on, right?
Sir?
These instruments that you gave, the 4 options there, 4
Yes, sir.
models, they're not based on anything that we are using right now. This is what's available to us so we could use, right?
I'm going to ask Jim to come up and respond to that if that's okay, just so I make sure I got it correct.
Yes, Mark, they're the November 21st we have to make the decision on, so they have not been drawn down yet. Authorized, but not drawn down.
All right. Okay.
Now, what we did, Marcus, if you'll look at Model A and Model B, Model A is upper left, Model B is lower right.
Yeah.
Model B, I think, draws down the whole 9.5 million.
Okay.
All right,
All right, that explains it,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's, do we want to take all or some?
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
thank you.
okay. Mr. Mayor, I think that's all I've got on my notes, so I'll be happy to respond to any questions.
I think the questions were asked already.
Okay? Thank you so much. Appreciate your help as we've gone through this.
Mr. McIntyre.
Oh, thank you, very well. I'll go first. So I get to say all the good things and leave nothing for these guys here. But want to just recognize, this is Teacher Appreciation Week. Want to recognize the teachers within our community and throughout the country who have had to come to school during COVID, really miss their kids teaching. All the support staff within the schools, the principals, assistant principals, people working in the office, the cafeteria, bus drivers, mechanics, even the school resource officers as well. Everybody associated with the schools, all the work that they do, I really want to say that if you see some of them out there or you're on social media, just say thank you to them, because being honest with you, they're the ones educating the people that will come up here and sit here and do the things that we're doing right now. Want to also recognize that we have Law Enforcement Week coming up sometime in May, right? Captain James? Law Enforcement Week coming up in, so again, the law enforcement officers that we have in the town, we really do appreciate the work that you and your team do. Thank you very much for all that you guys do. And I'm not going to say any more because it's 7:30 and David probably has a game to go to. Thank you.
Since I have a game to go to, thanks for everybody coming tonight, and I'll see you next time.
Mr. Barber.
Yeah. First off, I'd like to send my condolences and prayers to the family of Reed May, local citizen, lived on First Avenue, passed away this week. He was a trucker and actually passed away in Michigan. So anyway, thoughts and prayers to them. He's reached out to me a lot, so I just was thinking about the family. I'd like to thank House Representative David Willis, the mayor, our town, the sheriff's department, Litter Busters of Union County for the great job that's going on of getting all the trash up from the streets and all that. And I really appreciate everybody that's pitched in to clean up the county. So, that's been a wonderful thing. Also want to remind everybody the Thursday, May 6th, over here at Crossing Pass Park at 11:30, we have the National Day of Prayer headed up by the Mayor Alvarez, and other officials will be there. So that's at Crossing Pass Park, Thursday, May 6th, 11:30. I do want to congratulate Wayne Courtney on being elected president of the Lions Club for another year, and also like to thank the Lions Club on the short notice of being able to once again help the town with the parade, and appreciate y'all reaching out and working with us. I'd like to thank Mike McLaurin, the town attorney, and the county and the relationship that we've had. I think it was unanimous for the county when they voted to expand 12 Mile Creek. So I think it's a great relationship that we have. And I just appreciate the county commissioners and them reaching out and keeping us informed. And looks like we're close to getting a deal done, so that's great. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Mr. Morse.
Excuse me. First, I'd just like to thank the staff and the town manager for jobs well done in this last year. It's incredible to see the things that are being done now versus the first or second year that I took office. It really pleases my heart to see stormwater funds being utilized, and they're being utilized in areas of the town that aren't necessarily the million-dollar homes or whatever. So it's good to see the love and the money spread around. As far as the law enforcement contract, I would have made a motion for a 5-year if that would have been in front of us a couple of weeks ago to digest it, and to also digest, how does that impact political things and the whatnot. But I am happy that this council is so supportive of our sheriff's department. I feel like, the different parts of the country that I've lived, this is the finest sheriff's department that I've ever had to interact with. I would put it up against Marion County, Florida, for sure. One thing with the law enforcement week, I would encourage, folks that do support law enforcement to put a blue light bulb out there on your porch. It's, it's just symbolic, but I think it means a lot to them. Before I leave here this evening, I better make sure that I mention that happy anniversary to my wife. She's put up with me for 32 years come this Friday. God bless her soul for sure. And also, thank you very much for presenting a CIP plan, a 2-year and a 5-year plan. And then hopefully one day, the next council or the council after that will look at a 10 and a 20-year plan, because, we aren't stagnant, and everything changes over time, and especially the needs of the some of the capital improvements, like public works building is going to be needed, some land, those things I definitely support. Other than that, it's good to see everyone and be back in council, and I hope you all have a great week.
Mr. Head?
Pretty much ditto on everything. Jerry, I do have blue lights. They have been on for over a year, never turn off, on the front porch. Just want to say to the staff, man, y'all are really hitting on all cylinders. This was a very good meeting. Everybody was very prepared, went extremely smooth, and it's 7:35. So good job. Everybody drive home safe. One other thing, blood drive. Is it the 6th, May 11th? May 11th.
Yes.
Just as a reminder, we have a blood drive May 11th at the
Carolina Courts.
Carolina Courts, starting at
It's from 9 to 1.
9 to 1. So I'm going to be there. Hope some of my colleagues will join me for a good cause.
And Mayor Alvarez?
Well, I want to ditto everything and just piggyback on Mr. McIntyre's statement on the teachers. Also like to congratulate the upcoming senior class and empathize with them that you go to school all those years and tough it through it to get to your senior year, and many of you had to spend it behind a computer at home. Either way, congratulations, and have a happy and safe graduation coming up. And I want to recognize Captain Hayden back there. Once again, making the Mayor's Tree Initiative successful, but this time via Zoom, and making it real fun. I know you don't want that video to get out there, but it's amusing, it's fun, it's appropriate, and thanks for working around the pandemic to get all of our events done very creatively. And we hope for a very happy and safe 4th of July parade. And just remind everyone that vaccines are open to everyone. And please consider getting one, and let's get to that place where we can move on and get back to normal. And so that being said, thank you, Council, for a good meeting. Thank you, Sheriff's Office. Great law enforcement update. You did a great job.
Thanks, sir.
And God bless. I now need a motion to adjourn so Mr. Cohn can go home.
Motion to adjourn.
Ms. McIntyre's made the motion. By show of hands, all in favor? That's unanimous. Good night, everyone.
Hey, Mike, you have a second?